I am Ali,
And I'm Danny.
and we're from a band called the Virginmarys.
Yes, we're at 2,000 Trees. I'm looking forward to seeing you guys later, but I've seen you guys before. Are you looking forward to tonight?
Yeah, absolutely. I'd say that 2000 Trees is one of the best British festivals, if not, the best. It's a nice vibe every time that we come here.
Anything else that makes you say that? You must have played many times.
I don't know, man.
It's hard to nail it down, is it? We love it too.
I think it's the vibe. There's a nice atmosphere here. It's a good size. Great bands. So
Totally agree. Is this the start? Are you playing more festivals this summer?
yeah, we're playing Made of Stone Festival and Firebolt Festival. I'm sure there's other festivals that I'm not prepared. I can't remember, to be honest.
That's all good. Let me ask you though, what's a favourite song on the set list at the moment? What's your favourite that you're playing tonight?
Well, it probably varies for me and Dan. I know that Where Are You Now is one of my favourites to play. It's probably about 3 years old now, but we kind of improvise a little bit through dynamics each time that we're doing it, and I think generally, it's just one of my favourites that we do.
How about yourself?
Yeah, I mean, anything off the new album, really.
Sure.
It's always kind of, you get bored of playing the older stuff. So, and like Al said, you always, when it's new stuff, you're always finding little nuances, little things, little between us, that's keeps it really interesting and stuff. So, but yeah, Where Are You Now is definitely a good one.
Absolutely. And you guys have been going since about 2009 or so?
Yeah, that's right.
It's been a
marathon.
story from my opinion of like resilience, relentless touring, and also just filling out the sound with two of you. Of course, White Stripes became huge with just two of them, guitarist and a drummer on stage. But from hearing you, when you heard the White Stripes live from back in the day, you can tell there isn't a bass player there. They haven't quite figured out how to fill it out. You guys are filling it out both from how you connect together and, amps and pedals. You guys seem to have got it figured out. Was that a conscious decision? Was it a step you need to go, right, how do we fill this out with two people?
I think that we're both perfectionists, and originally when me and Dan started playing, we played in a 4-piece band, and it was a massive step for us to go to a 3, and you could hear there was a hole there that needed filling, so then you start playing in a different way. In the last, say, 4 or 5 years, we decided to go as a 2, and it was a real learning curve. We weren't sure. I think it was a bit of a trial at the start, but then playing around with different pedals and speaking to a friend in Hyena Kills kind of suggested to split the signals so that some of it goes to the guitar channel, but you have a separate bass channel. That's kind of the game changer really on
Yes.
like a low end. So if you can get that into an octave pedal. And then I use a Sans amp as well, and some compression. And I started kind of becoming a bit of a geek, to be honest, where it was never something that interested me in the slightest when I first started playing guitar. But now I actually take a lot of I get most enjoyment out of playing with frequencies and making, but 90% of it really is how you play together, how you strike the guitar, and how you use dynamics and take a song to a certain place and then hit it wide open, rather than just a punk kind of which is great, just to kind of keep it the same. But yeah, there's tricks.
There are tricks. I'll be honest, there's a lot of drummers that give us a lot of tricks too, because a lot of drummers always double up as like wannabe sound engineers, because obviously you've got all the frequencies there as well, from the lows to the highs. Is there anything about when you're in a 2-piece? I've heard you guys live, and you seem to play about with like BPMs or being a bit like behind the beat, if anything, to make it hear heavier.
Yeah, that was something I've done for ages, really. Yeah, where you're behind, you're lazing it off for the verses, or and then obviously for the choruses you're hitting and stuff. And sometimes as well, just to get that lazy kind of feel to it, it's just it's a totally different thing. Yeah.
It makes it hit better, especially when you're playing heavier in the bigger rooms that you end up playing, especially at festivals. I've heard the Hives are probably the best at doing it of anything like this genre, but you can hear what they're doing just delaying slightly. It makes such a difference. Can you tell me about when you were first learning? Obviously, when people are first learning, they're just trying to play in time at all, right? They're not playing about with this stuff. So what were the first songs you learned when you were learning your instruments? And was there any gateway to when you were like, oh, now something that made you a lifer with playing your instruments and learning music?
Yeah, I think like at the start, it's best to kind of keep it fun. I started when I first started high school, and you know, it was just kind of doing like the old school Batman kind of Oasis were kind of around, and you know, you started playing stuff that you knew, and I think a game changer is really when you start to realize how important playing in time is, which came to me probably a lot later. I think, like,
was that when you played with others more?
Probably, yeah. And like, I don't think I could ever understand when me and Dan started playing in a band. I thought it was perfect straight away, maybe, but then you go and see other bands and it sounded really solid and tight. Mm-hmm. And I think that's generally a thing that they call locking in, which I didn't really get until maybe 10 years down the line. But the main thing is just kind of learning your craft at the start, keeping it exciting, and that you want to pick up a guitar, I guess. You know.
And you're saying you learned a lot of things 10 years in, but there's a lot of that kind of confidence of youth and just, no, I'm great at this now, I'm going to do it, I'm going to be a musician. You need a bit of that start band.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
You need a bit of that bravado.
Yeah, you need if you don't have that as a kid, I think, and like Al said as well, keeping it's got to really interest you. You know, like that was the biggest thing for me, really. I only had lessons for like a year, and it probably could have died off, but it was more about going to gigs and being excited about seeing something that you couldn't kind of work out how to do it in your head, and then you'd go home and you just relentlessly practice until you do it. You know, that was the excitement about it. You know, and I kind of still have that, which is really great. You know, it's like when you see a new band you've not heard before and it just blows your head. You just kind of like, you get that same buzz again. You know.
Totally. No, it's exciting. And then, of course, you know, you've been through many different, different lineups with this band. Now it's just the two of you. How is that? How are you writing songs now? Are you coming up with most of the stuff, or is there anything that you've written that's actually been inspired by something you played on the drums? You know.
I mean, it's great to be in a practice room and Dan plays what's coming to his, like, what's inspired him that minute, and then I join in and we create something that way. More often than not now, because we're an independent band that's kind of dealing with all aspects, and you know, to even distribution and the rest of it.
100%.
There's not so much time to kind of be in a room together, so I will play about on Logic and just hit a bass drum like bum bum bum, you know, and send it to Dan, see what he thinks,
back and forth,
and then we I kind of hash it out a lot more before I kind of, just to save time.
No, of course, it's practical. I've got to mention your voice too. You are one of the best rock voices that you're gonna hear around, in my opinion. I just love that. When you can get in that frequency range, it's just exciting, and it cuts through a PA, and you can really do it live. Do you remember when you first discovered that, Jesus, I can do this? I mean,
no,
it's very different to, you know, the sort of a lot of people from up north like me. We do the more of the crooner thing. We can't do that edge to your voice. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you know, one of my favourite singers, I think, is actually Frank Black from Pixies.
Pixies, what a band, right? And he will scream a lot on those early albums.
But it's the versatility. Like, he can kind of go deep and he can go kind of high, and he's got one of the best screams that's going. I think when me and Dan first met, I was a lot younger. I kind of felt that there was some potential in my voice, but it definitely wasn't as it is now, and I couldn't sing that well in tune, and people would tell me that, and I've just kind of ground it out each time. And it's the same with guitar. You kind of understand timing and dynamics and all sorts are kind of important to the performance.
I still remember as well when we were first starting out, that was one of the things people used to say about Al's voice. And there'd always be people coming up to him and going, I had a mate like that, he used to sing just like that, and he just totaled his voice out. You know, you can't keep doing that, you can't keep doing that. And touch wood, Al's just kept going.
Look, so some people have just got, I lose my voice straight away as soon as I've done a couple of nights in a row, and some people is just have no sleep, rock up, and then just good to go. And that's how you know you're born to do it, basically. You should be doing this. Is there anything you want to give a shout out to, any upcoming gigs, or are you writing something new?
Yeah, writing a new album right now.
Happy days?
The last one, the last real album is called The House Beyond the Fires. Came out a couple of years ago. We're kind of following that up with a new one, should be coming out next year. Apart from that, we're on tour with a punk band called Lagwagon in Europe, and we're doing festivals throughout the year.
Happy days. Well, all the best to you. We're a big fan of your band, Virginmarys. Check them out. Thank you
Cheers,
so much
Andy.
for talking
Nice
with
one.
us.